In this video, I'll be sharing with you the 5 portrait tips I wish I knew when I first started drawing about a year ago. So, last year, I drew this face. And here is a face that I can draw today. So please listen when I say this. Learning the structure of a face is boring. Practicing was boring. Taking the time to learn the anatomy of a portrait and of a face really could suck the enjoyment out of learning to draw. Because all I wanted to do was draw my favorite anime characters. But I will say this. Months of practice and months of study has given me the ability to be able to draw exactly what's in my imagination. Well, I won't say exactly because I can get pretty close. So my first tip is not related to drawing My Hero Academia faces, or practice drawing your favorite anime or manga, or drawing hair or lips or even eyes. Although all these skills are important, I don't want to shortcut those skills. The first tip that I really wish I knew when I first started was learning the geometric shapes of a face and the facial planes so that you could be able to understand how shadow and light falls on a face. Okay, this next tip, OMG, let's go. Okay, going back to last year when I first began to draw, everything looked important in my artwork. Everything looked important in my artwork. But one thing I never thought about when I first started learning to draw was the power of focus, of prioritizing certain aspects of my portraits. It wasn't even something I even considered. So for instance, when I used to draw, my nose was important, my lips were important, my eyes were important. Everything on the drawing screamed, "Pay attention to me." What voice is that? Okay. But as I began to learn the power of varying the weight of a line, I began to understand on a visual level how to direct attention, create depth and mass, improve readability. And by using the planes of the face, you thought I was done with that tip, didn't you? Tip number 1, I was able to create 3-dimensional feeling. Let's move to the next tip though. So if you go on Pinterest, you're going to find so many references. It's actually one of the best places to get references. So many incredible images to learn from and so many attractive people to draw. But I found one problem with Pinterest. A lot of photos are simply visually beautiful. The photos are well lit, it's incredible studio lighting, and the Photoshop retouching, it's amazing. But when I was first beginning to draw, I didn't realize by copying these images, I was missing how to draw people who have texture and personality. So although these images were great references for me when I was first starting out, many of these images lack an interesting characteristic. They lack flaws, which are the very thing that honestly makes us human. Okay, let's pause real quick. I'm not saying drawing pretty people isn't something I do. I still draw pretty people. I'm being completely honest with y'all. However, what I am saying is learning to draw different varieties and shapes of people will allow you to increase your visual library. And more importantly, you'll be able to pinpoint the characteristics of what makes us all extraordinary. Okay, let's get back into the video. So one thing I'm doing now, or at least one thing I'm starting to do now, is to seek images of non-models. References that include, pores in your skin and scars and imperfections and all of that. Because learning how to draw many different variety of people has definitely made me a better artist. Now this next tip, I only recently started doing and started incorporating into my own artwork. And just like Pinterest shows beautiful people, it also shows models who don't have all that much expression on their face. Now, I didn't realize this until really recently, And that's how important it is to study multiple expressions. Anger, sadness, happiness. Because here's the thing, now that I'm incorporating all these expressions or trying to incorporate all these expressions into my artwork, I'm realizing just how much I still need to learn. So please do not be like me. Study facial structures, study facial planes, incorporate imperfections in your art, but also make sure you're studying expressions. Give your drawings emotion. Make them feel like living and breathing people with personality and depth. This next tip is a no-brainer. But if you're like me, which you probably might be, you're probably motivated to draw because of your favorite anime and manga. And so all you really want to do is copy your favorite characters. For me, mine was Naruto and Sasuke, Goku and Vegeta. But the problem is, because I did not understand the structure of a face and how the anatomy of a face should look, I limited my growth. I slowed how fastly I could learn. Whether that might be stylized or realistic. One of the biggest mistakes that I regret sticking to for so long was not spending the time to study the anatomy of a face. So don't be like me. Study anatomy in order to keep learning and improving and becoming a better artist. I'll see you in the next video.